Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode number 72 of the Disney Infinity and Beyond podcast, presented by me, Roger, here in the UK, and Abe there in sunny California. Morning, Abe.
Buenos dias, senor.
All right. So this week is is a little bit light on news for some bizarre reason. It's almost like we've got a whopping great big brand new playset coming out in just a few days. The Force Awakens is just a few days away from hitting cinemas. The playset is out on Friday everywhere. We've got the so we're going to be running through that. We also have all the light effects figures. Everyone's been kind of excited about that. So yeah, so shall we jump straight in the light effects ones, because you've just uploaded ones. You've managed to pick them up. What have you thought of them?
I think they're great. I think they were a great addition. I mean, yeah, everybody is, in consensus that, we wish we had them all at launch. But I do understand why we didn't. Obviously, they had issues with the lighting up technology there, and they had to go to Disney Imagineering to help them and whatnot. But we got them. They're finally here. They're really cool. I do like them. They look a little bit cleaner. They have a little slightly larger than the originals, but still awesome. And mine, I mean, I haven't had a single issue with them lighting up on the base. The light is nice and bright. No flickering like some people have had. However, I know some people. There was one guy who posted it. It was flickering, but he said the package was really damaged. So I'm sure it was like it was a damaged figure. But no, they're awesome. I mean, they're great. I guess we'll get into the negatives after your opinion.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because I mean, they are out in Europe on this coming Friday. They're out on the same day as all the Force Awakens stuff. So, so we had a slight delay of a few weeks over here. So it's a kind of bit of an odd one. Kanan isn't going to be out in the UK straight away. Don't know when that one's going to be coming. I'm just guessing it'll be coming at a later point. They seem to have been very, very popular. But there again, I think this whole Force, these figures have highlighted, like you say, lots of good stuff that's happened with them, and there has been some negative stuff that's come from it. The communication point of it has been really badly handled. Saying they're out now. Some of the retailers haven't had them out. Some of them have had them out. People have been going in and being able to buy them in one store, and the next store somebody goes into, they've said the Toys R Us have said no, or Walmart have been a bit funny with their website. And apparently I even heard that some people at Toys R Us that have ordered them online are being sent the normal Darth Vader instead of the light effects one by mistake. So you want to keep an eye out on that, which is all this kind of issue of having to buy them online, etc. When these issues start kicking in, some people have found them hard to get in certain stores and jumping from store to store. It's been a bit of a kind of an odd one watching it from afar, because we haven't even gone into it over here yet. I haven't even had this experience yet of trying to find the figures and all the rest of it. I've got that to come this weekend.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of worried because Darth Vader was being delivered. So whoops, I'm kind of scared now. No, but either way, I mean, I think they're definitely good. I think what was my major issue with it? I guess my major issue with it is the fact that it's very selective. Like, I mean, it's kind of odd that we have some Jedi with lightsabers who are not getting the treatment. So it's going to be odd to have your figures like that, unless you separate them with variants like I would. But those who chose to wait for the light effects figures instead of buying the regulars, it's going to be odd, because you'll have some that look bulkier and some that don't. It's going to kind of throw off everything, your collection at least. So yeah, I kind of wish you had Ahsoka or you had Darth Maul. But again, that's, I guess, some issue with the two lightsabers.
And also, in some ways, Ezra could have had one, and also, we're all really it's like Kylo Ren. I think everyone's a bit like, what? There again, this is this thing with Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is like, well, if they could have done the lightsaber one, I think that lightsaber one should have been lit up. That should be the normal version out this week, and they can't use the timing wise, and they didn't have time because it's at the same day for us as the light effects ones. So
the issue with No, but see, the issue with Kylo Ren, I think, unfortunately, because of the new lightsaber,
Mm.
I think it runs into the same issue of Darth Maul and Ahsoka, because he
Mm.
still has these two
He's got 3
little.
of them.
Yeah, so I mean, if they can't figure out how to light up two, who knows if they'll be able to light up like small ones. So
Yeah.
that's probably why we haven't seen anything. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually they figured out something for Kylo Ren, or at least give us a weird one where only his middle lightsaber lights up. So
And just a little bit of
I
reflection.
don't know.
It's
Yeah.
just a bit kind of like, you know, I still have this lingering thing that this was originally supposed to happen at launch. It didn't, because they couldn't get the doubles to work, and therefore they had to pull the plug on it. I don't know. I mean, it's like this thing with the retailers. You know, for me, like it's kind of like we had it with the Christian ones, and that was pretty poorly organized over here. But I've only got 5 of the 6 available this weekend. Kanan's not out here, so I'm gonna have to import it from France if I want it straight away. There's another retailer, Smith's Toys. I can order it online, but I've got to pay for shipping. But the nearest store to me is 90 miles away, so that's not really a great option. Sainsbury's doesn't have an online store, so I've got to go and find the store to find it. So I'm thinking I might just do an online order for the 3 of them figures at once off Amazon France to get them all shipped at once and save me some money. And yeah, you know, it's just, and then you got the other stores you have to go to. And I think there's this one thing with retailer exclusives, if it works fine for the retailers, it makes sense, and it also makes sense not to fill out the store with 6 doubles because of the amount of space in the store. And you know, some people go, oh, it's great, it works great for the stores, but it's not if you're not in a location where those stores are nearby. You know, you've got to have to pay for shipping for them, which adds the cost to it. It's done out. It's a real. I can see the advantages for it being retailer exclusives, but it's this thing of limited is making some people rush. If I know, for example, Yoda is going to be at that retailer for the next 6 months, it does. Or I say, for example, I know Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be at Sainsbury's for me, and I know it's going to be there for the next 6 months. I can kind of just pop in and out whenever I need to, but if I know that once that store gets them and they're gone, if I'm not there probably Friday or Saturday, they could be just gone and we'll never see them again. It's a really hard one to know at this precise moment.
I was gonna say the retailers here in the States, it hasn't been that negative in my opinion. The only issue, I think the biggest one at least, is just stock. You know, obviously some stores getting like 1 or 2, some stores getting like 8, some stores getting tons, some getting nothing. For me, it's been easy. Just the hardest ones have been Yoda, and especially Darth Vader. Darth Vader, for some reason, there's been a lot of miscommunication within their own company as far as when the release date was supposed to be. They went from saying it's supposed to be out on the 15th to changing the website to having it out now to going to a store where people will be like, okay, well, it says it's available. Like, oh, we don't have that. And like you said, the shipping issue where they're shipping the wrong Darth Vader. That's been the only biggest issue out here in the States, and at least from what I've experienced. But other than that, I mean, I think overall, aside from, you know, not coming out at launch and all the retailer exclusive stuffs and obviously stock, I still think, you know, it's been quite successful. It's popular. People have been still wanting to get them, and they are really cool. I honestly think the technology is way better than the light core figures from Skylanders. Like, these actually light up nice. The light core, sometimes you barely have a dim light show up, or some of them would be great, and some of them outright wouldn't even work. But so far, everything has been perfect with the light effects ones. So I was excited with them, regardless of the fact whether it, you know, they had all the issues. We finally got them. They're here. UK, you got them next week. So you know, it's been good. So I'm just happy for them.
I think, as well as I think some people have enjoyed the chase. I think there's some people that have enjoyed that part of the aspect of it, because I mean, I was listening to the Toys for Games cast with Jason talking about it yesterday, and talking about variants, which we discussed on our podcast last week. Compared to Skylanders, and Rob Cornup said this as well. Infinity has had it really lucky compared to the variants at Skylanders, what they did. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think the Disney audience like the chase the same way. I don't think it works the same way. I think we've not been accustomed to it, and also I don't know. I think Disney's such a bigger part of. We've seen it with other items of collectibles where people are scalping them and trying to sell them for profit. The Disney audience is already accustomed to that happening. And I think with Infinity, it would be a very dangerous line if they start going down really bad limited variants. It might bring in a chase, but Disney have already had problems with what happened with Amiibo and have sort of said, "Oh, we're not doing that." So I really like the idea of variants, but I prefer them if they keep very, very sort of safe.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Disney crowd doesn't really like the chase much. And a big sign and proof of that is going from blind bags to no blind bags, because people didn't want blind bags for Power Disc. So, anyways,
it's very, very cool.
It's crazy. It's a different experience. So.
Yeah, but I'm very grateful we didn't get all that mess with like they did with the Skylanders ones.
Right.
But I think as far as the light effects ones, they're out. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like it's been a nice little kind of thing for December to kind of get people in. For me, I know I would have liked them a little bit earlier, but it would have been quite cool to have them maybe spread out one a week and let people kind of do that a little bit, because I think that would have been a cool way of, and if they communicated that a little bit better, it would have worked a lot stronger. But it's done. They're out. I wonder, it's a real hard thing for them to do.
Yeah.
Also this week, this is a real big week for Star Wars: The Force Awakens. The movie comes out Thursday and Friday everywhere. The figures are out, so we're going to have Poe as a single character, and you're going to have Kylo Ren as a single character. You're going to have Rey and Finn in the playset pack, and you're also going to have a Power Disc pack as well. So they're all going to be out on Friday. They look really great, but it's quite interesting, and you can really tell that this year The Force Awakens has kind of got this really big like embargo and net around it to stop information coming out about it. Only this week, a toy was put up for sale in one of the stores. Somebody brought it, put a picture up, and the internet's blown up because Hasbro went after them with lawsuits, taking it down, doing all this stuff. And this is like someone that just brought the toy in the store, and he was being threatened with cease and desist orders and all this kind of stuff. The amount of attention on Star Wars this week.
What toy was this?
I don't know which toy it was, and I don't want to go down that line.
Jeez, I just want to be.
Well, I haven't got any.
Is it made of gold or something? Yeah. Jeez.
But they have been so protective of it, and this is the thing with The Force Awakens that's coming. Because Daniel over Infinity Codes, he popped them down, and Travis is saying, you get a message come up saying this content is locked until the movie comes out, which is something we've never had Infinity before. JV even put out a tweet saying we anticipated retailers breaking street dates because there's been pictures of people picking stuff up left, right, and center. All the different characters, with both Poe, Kylo Ren, and the Power Discs have all been picked up in different retailers. This is quite weird for Disney Infinity to kind of got the point where they've been able to lock it.
I don't know, because Star Wars: Force Awakens, it's a big one. I think the fact, like you said, JV said, they've been anticipating stuff like this. I think the fact that The Force Awakens is so big and they're trying to be so secretive, that they've implemented some safety nets to make sure that nobody is able to see this content. I think honestly, it's a blessing for Disney Infinity, because Disney Infinity from 2.0 has been always about trying to protect and not give away spoilers, especially JV. And I think the fact that they were able to do this with The Force Awakens only shows you that the possibilities are infinite for that end as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to be blocking content. So it's going to be interesting.
It's really odd because, let's be honest, 3.0 has not had a great history with leaks. I am actually trying to think. I think every single piece of information seems to have got out early for a retailer. and these characters being out on the, people being able to pick them up, and it's blocked and it's locked. And I'm really wondering if we're going to see more of this in the future. This is, it's not, are we going to have this on all content from now on? Now, on the next wave coming, for example, with Battlegrounds, it's all DLC. So if they don't put the patch out, Captain America is not going to work, or if there's any other characters like Vision, they're not going to work. But what about, like Zootopia figures? When they put them down, are you going to get a message saying, this isn't until release date? Will we start seeing that? Is this going to be something we're going to have, or is it too costly for maybe individual stuff, or is it just the Force Awakens where they've had to be really, really tight on it because of that, and nothing else is quite as important?
See, I see this being done only with anything Star Wars that's new, or possibly some Marvel. I don't see it done with Disney, to be honest with you. Like, for example, Zootopia, highly doubt they'll hide anything. I mean, obviously they removed something that was listed on the Power Disc, but still, I don't think things will be locked for anything Disney, unless it's some new series that they create. Like if they end up making the next new big Harry Potter or something, where like people don't want to know what happens next, then it makes sense. But yeah, I think it's just Star Wars, because I mean this is an important movie, especially for the Star Wars franchise, and obviously Disney's future with them. So yeah, I don't think it'll be for anything else. It's just going to be Star Wars, anything future Star Wars, like even the spin-offs like Rogue One and whatnot, and some Marvel, depending on how huge it is. Like maybe when we get to Infinity Wars, geez, then definitely we might see something like that.
Because also the trouble is with locking everything down is it then becomes a problem. Then, for example, they take it on the road, when they take it traveling, this having things locked down becomes a little bit more difficult. I think The Force Awakens is very, very noticeable that there's been no content anywhere. There is no playthroughs. Even Disney themselves, they've not doing Toy Box TV Live where they're streaming the Toy Box pack. Then there's been no real game footage. No one's been playing it. But also, it's kind of a bit odd because suddenly you've got a game coming out on Friday, because essentially that's what it is. It's a brand new game coming out. There's a massive embargo on it. I mean, this is probably the biggest embargo ever. But even if anything wanted to get the information out, they can't. But then also, traditionally, if a game is this much locked down, it usually is a bad sign, because reviewers and stuff and people view that if it's embargoed, why are they hiding it when they should do? But with The Force Awakens, it's an entirely different beast, because the entire movie, everything about it, the toys, the merchandise, everything is locked down because they don't want to give too much away. So it's a real kind of, they want, it's almost like that thing, if they want us, those of us that are going to the cinema Thursday and Friday, to experience it without spoilers and to get that feel of it and get a buzz, and they want that reaction from us on Friday. And it seems very, very different than anything we've seen before.
I think at this point, embargoes and media covering anything to do with Force Awakens, honestly, I'm sure they don't care, because it's going to be big. It's going to sell a lot. I mean, let's just think about it this way. Black Friday, Disney Infinity was the highest selling Games to Life category game. And obviously, it's a huge anticipation for Force Awakens content. So clearly, not only is it important to block out all the information from anything leaking, because obviously I am sure if they're being this secretive about the playset, I'm sure it has something, has a lot of the story from the movie. So clearly they need to block that out as well. Not to mention, you have to think about this too, is that aside from the content that's provided by these games, I'm sure they don't want a lot of these toys to be released ahead of time, because it's also going to be extremely popular. I think for Disney Infinity, this is going to be the first time. Let me retract that. I know Elsa and Anna sold out the first time they came out. But anyways, these Disney Infinity figures are going to sell out really fast. I think they're going to sell out really, really quick. I'm sure they're anticipating, because they have huge stock, except for Poe, because he's somewhere on the road. But other than that, I think they're going to be prepared. But the fact is, it's so secretive. They gotta make sure they maintain everything behind, you know, curtains. Nobody can see it behind lock and key. And then the toys, I'm sure they don't want those to be out on the floor right now because they're gonna need a lot of those come on the 18th. I don't know, man. It's great. I like the fact that they're doing this, but I only see it for Star Wars. I don't see it for anything else. And honestly, embargoes and media coverage doesn't matter because this thing's gonna be huge either way.
Yeah, it is that kind of thing. If it's really good, it is, like I say, it's gonna be massive on its own force. But it's such a, it's kind of, you know, seeing some of the way that they are doing stuff with these lockdowns and stuff, you are thinking, is this something that they're gonna want to implement in the future? But then, like I said, if they go down this DLC route, like with Peter Pan and First Avenger, they get rid of that anyway because they can control the unlock from a digital point of view anyway. Because if you do get it early and then put the patch out, you can't get hold of it. I still think that content is locked on that game, on that disc somehow. I don't think it's been a DLC because I don't know. It doesn't. It feels a bit like there've been no messages of it being DLC. There's nothing on the packaging saying you've got to be internet connected. And you can't have someone going home going, well, it's not internet connected if it doesn't say it on the labeling. So I think those figures are in there and locked in, but I think they've just been a very, very well done in hiding everything this year.
No, yeah, absolutely. I just can't wait for that wall to come down on Friday. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be an interesting week. It's like, you know, we're only a few days away from the movie. I've got the tickets ready.
You know what else I'm wondering? I'm wondering if it's going to come down at midnight. You know what I mean? Like, is it going to wait until the actual day of, or are they going to actually do it, you know, literally midnight on the 18th? Because some people are going to see it on the 17th, obviously. And let's say, well, there's a specific schedule for patches. Maybe it's at 5 a.m. So, like, who knows? But the fact is, once it's up, I'm so downloading whatever patch it is.
Well, this is, I mean, the movie's out here on Thursday on the 17th.
Right, out here as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've got my tickets set for sort of Thursday night. Yeah.
Like, yeah, the official release is always Friday, but like they always have these what do they call them, sneak peeks or whatever, which are always on the 17th. So technically, the movie comes out on the 17th, and that's everywhere. But yeah,
it's just, I think it's just going to be one of those situations of the. It's just I think it's a unique event in sort of geek culture. This is kind of something we don't get this very often. I mean, you do not get this kind of I mean, in some ways, you know, I know guy that plays Finn was saying, you know, he hopes people's, you know, he thinks, he doesn't know if it's ever going to live up to that hype, which is right. I think, you know, the hype is kind of building up and building up and building up, you know. And I think people are expecting this kind of the movie to be the best thing ever. Like the playset could be just like any other Star Wars game. It's just the hype is so much there for it.
Yeah, no, that's true. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting, but you know, it's coming up. We have less than a week, so it's gonna be awesome.
Yes, can't wait.
I was gonna say, if we can piggyback into another subject, which I believe Disney Infinity is putting on a special screening of The Force Awakens on the 17th at the LA Live Regal Theater, and that'll be at 7 p.m. on Thursday. And I'm sure they're going to also show content finally of the Force Awakens playset. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, because in some ways they need to get some promotion going for this playset because they haven't really been able to do that.
Right. I unfortunately didn't see the signups until after the fact, but I'm trying to cross my fingers, see if I can still get in somehow. Fortunately, some members need to take their wives in, so I can't go with them. But yeah, he knows who I'm talking about. But anyways, yeah. We'll either way, regardless of the fact, I'm just happy that they're doing that for the fans. You know, Disney has been awesome doing that. You know, starting with Inside Out. They did it with The Good Dinosaur. You know, they've done a lot of cool things for screenings. I'm sure they'll probably do something with Zootopia and
it does.
I mean, and Captain America as well.
It does seem to be a very kind of seems to be a good way for them to do something in their area in the LA. I mean, you know, I look at it like all those people that would have seen the movie would have gone to see it at the cinema, so they are losing out on the ticket set, but it just seems to work very well as a promotional piece to get a lot of people, posting pictures on social media. But also, it seems to work great for them from being able to make a lot of footage and be able to use that content of showing the fans lining up and people with all the figures and people doing stuff. It seems to be like I wouldn't say it's a cheap way, but it's a very good way of me to make a lot of content, and it looked like there's a lot more excitement over these figures because they show the queues and they show this big grand pack full of people doing it like they did. And I think it's a very good way of tying it in with movies, which is what Infinity is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a cool event. So I hope people who are going enjoy it.
But that's pretty much going to round up pretty much all. It's like I said, it's a very, very light week of news. Next week's show is going to be a lot more fun because we're going to have had the playset for a few days. So we're going to have that's next week's show is pretty much just going to be Force Awakens. That's pretty much the plan for next week. And then after the holidays, we're going to be looking back at 2015, and then probably the week after we'll then look forward to 2016 and do all of the kind of traditional end of year filler stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's that good. But yeah, so next week's gonna be The Force Awakens. Okay, so just want to do a quick thing before we finish this week's show. This week Toybox TV is doing their 100th episode. That's right, 100 episodes with the gang, with Allison and JV and the rest of the crew there, with the mailman and the ham model and all the rest of it. They've done a fantastic job. 100 episodes. So we just want to say a big shout out to the Toybox TV crew from thiskingdom.com. I do want
Yeah, no, shout out to you guys. We're happy for you guys. Glad that you guys hit the 100 mark, and can't wait for you guys to hit the 200 mark. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, congratulations on that. But anyway, guys, just want to give also another shout out to Ethan over at magicbandcollectors.com and sortapps.com as well for supporting us each month. It really helps with us. And also big thank you to our other patrons as well. And remember to check out us on Twitter at This Kingdom. You can find us on Facebook. You can also join our Infinity and Beyond Facebook group. If you're on iTunes, give us a subscribe there. If you're on YouTube, you can do the same. But yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts on The Force Awakens. Comment below. Get your comments into us for next week for what you think of the playset. And that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this week's show. All right.
Take care, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
See you later, guys. Laters. May the Force be with you.
Yeah.